Hello and welcome to the Narc Alert, the channel where we look at YouTubers and others to see if they demonstrate any traits that fall within the spectrum of narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD. These videos are for fun and entertainment purposes only, strictly my opinion, and remember, please don't send any snark to our possible narcs. So key points to remember: messy fun and not a diagnosis. In the world of deception and intrigue, few stories are as bizarre and twisted as this one about Nicholas Alahverdian. This guy's whole life reads like a script right out of a crime thriller. Alahverdian's tale is one of mystery, manipulation, narcissism, and a desperate search for justice. Well, his own version of justice, for himself. He claimed to be a victim, a champion for the abused, a voice for the voiceless. Nicholas had absolutely a troubled past, and he made headlines as a prominent advocate for reforming the foster care system in Rhode Island. He had claims of being abused in every home he was ever in for multiple years in the system, but behind the scenes, he was weaving a tale of all kinds of lies.
Confiscate
yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Watch.
3 weeks after recording this confrontation with a courthouse sheriff's deputy, Nicholas Alahverdian returned to court for a restraining order tied to his battle with the DCYF.
No, you're not.
On Monday, he claims, a misunderstanding over what was recorded provoked a deputy.
He pinned me against the wall. He pushed me. He shoved me.
You can't confiscate.
He punched me at one point.
It is the latest turn for this 23-year-old, who at 14 was a legislative page. But a year later, he was living in a series of DCYF-funded group homes where he says he was a punching bag for the other kids. Every day you were beaten.
Every day in Florida, every day in Nebraska, every day in Rhode Island.
Every day, Nicholas.
Every day. I chose to fight for the rights of myself as a kid in DCYF care and fight for the rights of those who were actually beating me up.
Now he's behind 3 bills that are endorsed by several lawmakers. One would overhaul DCYF.
Most of the social workers that I know mean well, but they are not given the resources, they are not given the time, they don't have the abilities to do what they need to do to get their job done, and that's unacceptable. It's horrific.
But as the layers of this carefully crafted persona began to unravel, a really dark truth started to emerge. This truth would actually shock people who supported him, and it left so many unanswered questions. And it all culminated in an elaborate scheme to fake his own death in 2020 to evade sexual assault charges.
Your oxygen mask is not connected.
So I have to hold his full weight. Do you see?
Any clearer, Stephen? I am Arthur Knight.
For many years, he stayed one step ahead of the law. He traveled under assumed identities and truly lived a double life. His trail stretched from the United States to the United Kingdom, where his lies finally caught up with him in a really dramatic international arrest in 2022.
Put my shot now, right? Right, best you can. 3, 2, 1. Use it. Lift your feet up again. That's it. Sit down, sit down.
Who is the real Nicholas Alahverdian? What drove him to concoct such a grand deception, and is he a narcissist? Well, in this video, we're going to look at some of his interviews and see if Nicholas Alahverdian shows us any traits that fall within the spectrum of traits that make up narcissistic personality disorder.
Out on bail awaiting his next extradition hearing.
Who are you?
I am Arthur Knight, and this is my wife, Miranda Knight. And unfortunately, there are those who would claim differently.
Narcissists often see themselves as playing a role in a larger drama where they are the star. Faking an accent can be part of this performance, allowing them to become the character they want to project to the world.
Are you Nicholas Rossi?
No.
Are you
that is
Nicholas
completely
Alahverdian?
insane. Absolutely not.
Are you Nicholas Brown?
Yes.
When asked why he changed his name from Nicholas to Arthur, he replied because it was associated with bad childhood experiences in Northern Ireland.
Part of Nicholas's story was that he was an orphan in Ireland who pulled himself out of poverty by selling books on the street.
Miranda, who claims she married her husband in Bristol 2 years ago, says she was there when Police Scotland arrested her husband in hospital as he recovered from COVID. Arrivals to court for bail hearings were in a wheelchair. An oxygen mask remained on throughout this interview at their Glasgow home.
A fake identity can be a tool for manipulating others. By presenting themselves in a certain way, narcissists can gain control. If their real self is ever questioned or criticized, they can shift blame, deny, or deflect by pointing to the persona that they've created.
I nearly died. I nearly died, and we are terrified. How can I be a flight risk if I can't even stand?
The electric wheelchair is not a prop. There's no faking of this illness.
This is a case of mistaken identity.
Narcissists may lie about their background, education, or experiences to create a more appealing or sympathetic image. This can include fabricating stories, inflating their successes, or even completely altering their personal history.
You say you've never been to the United States?
Never in my life.
They claimed in court you were identified from tattoos.
That is not true. There is no evidence whatsoever that there are tattoos, and I've shown that to news reporter after news reporter.
Classic gaslighting. He does indeed have all the tattoos that they identified. He insisted that while in the hospital, in a coma, someone gave them to him unbeknownst to him.
In this interview with a US network, he did agree to roll up one sleeve.
It was up further, right? And have you had any tattoos removed?
The man wanted in America to face a rape charge is known to have multiple tattoos. Prosecutors in Utah say Nicholas Rossi, also known as Alahverdian, is believed to have used at least 16 different aliases.
16 aliases? No, typos.
Narcissists frequently deflect blame for their mistakes onto others to maintain their self-image of perfection and superiority. They position themselves as the victim of others' incompetence or malicious intent, shifting sympathy towards themselves and away from the mistake.
These are very serious charges that this man faces. They claim this man faked his own death to evade those charges. Did you fake your own death?
Sharon, we're sitting having a conversation. I've never been dead to anyone.
A narcissist might view faking their death as a way to start over, particularly if their current identity or situation is no longer serving their needs. This could be an attempt to shed their past failures and create a new life free from past mistakes, including multiple charges of sexual assault.
After so many years, I know him inside out. I know my husband does not have tendencies as a rapist.
He is going to be needing a very large team on the pitch to try to say that I am a rapist.
I don't think they need much of a team on the pitch.
Because not only are we terrified because this is a vicious lie, but we are also incredibly disgusted by the fact that we now have to live our lives in a secretive way because my wife can't even walk down the pavement to get a pint of milk. And it continues.
Some people would say you're saying it a secretive way, but you're now speaking to various media outlets, including us. Why? What is the purpose then of this interview?
The truth needs to be known.
Narcissists with a history of lying might see faking their death as just another elaborate deception. Genuine admissions of guilt or responsibility are rare because they conflict with the narcissist's need to maintain a facade of superiority and control.
You're sure that's him?
Well, that's my son. There he is, right there. I know my son. I just know my son. That's definitely Nicky. He's older, but it's...
The case returns to court for the next stage of extradition proceedings in April and May, when the prosecution say the issue of identity will be resolved.
Are you Mr. Rossi? Are you Mr. Rossi?
You might have to take that off just to get to talk. So she lady.
Is that a yes? I'm having a hard time.
My name is Alta, not your brain.
I think I'm going to have the jail restate what he said. Having a really hard time hearing him.
Narcissists like to create confusion by creating a confusing or chaotic environment. A narcissist can muddy the waters enough that it becomes difficult to pinpoint their responsibility for mistakes.
What is it?
My name is Alta. Right.
He says his name is Arthur Knight. Brown?
Alta Knight Brown.
I can't hear. You want to have him state his name and date of birth?
Yeah, we can't hear him at all. Can you ask him, can you please state your name and date of birth?
Hey, get a little closer.
Lady, my name is Arthur Knight Brown. My date of birth is 22nd of the 11th, 1986.
It's such a circus. His accent is never quite right, and he speaks as if he is a character in a Dickensian novel.
Okay, I
think we're having a problem with understanding who this person is.
This is not number 36.
Your Honor, we've got him as Nicholas Rossi, but he's saying his name is Arthur Knight Brown.
Oh, that's one of the AKAs.
All the drama and histrionics aside, the court decided there was enough to proceed to trial.
Applying that standard here, I find and conclude that the state has met its burden and has presented evidence sufficient to establish probable cause to believe that the crime charged in the information was committed, and it was committed by this defendant.
For the first time on Thursday, his lawyer stipulated that he is indeed Nicholas Rossi. The admission was stipulated only as it applied to Thursday's hearing, but it did appear to surprise the prosecutor.
What was his name at birth?
And Your Honor, just before we go further, defense stipulates to identity. So,
I'm sorry?
defense stipulates to identity.
Defense is stipulating to identity in this case?
Yes, for the purposes of preliminary hearing, for the purposes of this case, defense stipulates to identity.
Defense having stipulated to the identity in this case, the identity of the defendant, the state rests.
Alahverdian faces a felony charge in Salt Lake County, where prosecutors allege he assaulted a 26-year-old former girlfriend after an argument, and another in Utah County. Until now, Alahverdian has continually denied any affiliation with the suspect in those cases. He continues to speak with an accent and wear an oxygen mask. And now, Alahverdian is set to be back in court for his arraignment and bail hearing. Well, as this trial is about to start, we will have to keep an eye on this one too. What a crazy guy. Narcissists are gonna narc, aren't they? Thank you all for joining me at this short look at Nicholas Alahverdian, Rossi, Knight, Brown, whatever his name is today. Thank you all for joining me. If you liked the video, don't forget to click like and subscribe to the channel. Maybe grab a channel membership so you can get in the Discord and catch some of the members-only content that we upload. Until we meet again, you know the routine. Just be kind and hasta luego.